My name is Mariam. I'm here for the City Extension Bar. We just opened, actually, a week ago. It's the first extension salon in the San Fernando Valley. Here's my website. You can look it up and see my extensions. I've been doing extensions for almost over 10 years. Just to tell you guys a little bit about myself, I started with makeup and I'm from Germany. I went to makeup and esthetician school there when I was, let's say 20 years ago. And moved over here to the United States in 2005. 2010, I was in the same classroom, just like you guys. And 2011, I graduated, got my cosmetology license. And yeah, the rest is history. I've been doing extensions for a long time, like I said. And today I want to teach you guys a little bit or make a little demo about all the different extensions there's out there, because there's a lot of stuff floating around and a lot of students or cosmetologists, they find like one technique and then they focus just on that one. And I think it's very important to know all of the techniques, because if you work in a salon or if you freelance or whatever you do, you want to give people or your clients a really good consultation and determine on the consultation which hair extensions is the best. So not really the one that you're just comfortable with, but also what is good for that client's hair. There's a lot of, different hair types, so maybe microlinks are not as good for the client as maybe a flat track, or skin weft extensions are very popular right now. But maybe the client has very thick hair and then skin weft extensions can get kind of lost, and so you want to determine what is the best extension method for your client. Has anybody gotten extensions here before? I customize clip-ins. So I don't know if you guys ever seen the wefted hair. So you just purchase wefted hair and you take the measurements of your client. You kind of do a consultation. So that's probably one of the most important things. The first thing that you want to do is always want to ask your client, what's your preference? How do you want the clip-ins in, or any extension that you want to put in? Like, just ask them first. 10-15 minutes, talk about it. I have a lot of clients that only want like 3 or 4 pieces of clip-ins. So I take their measurements, and then usually they want this, a U shape, and it goes all the way around, so they don't have like little pieces sticking out. And I also created a special technique, because a lot of people, when they put clip-ins, they tease the hair. So a little trick on the side, if you don't want to tease the hair, because that can lead to damage, you can make a tiny little braid. Just braid a little, strand down. Put a rubber band. Everybody's seen these little rubber bands, like hair rubber bands. Put the rubber band on there and then clip the clip-in onto that. So that's to install the clip-ins and style them. 45 minutes. It's not bad. Let's see. So we talked about the clip-ins. Do you guys have any? If you have questions, please just shoot them out. Yes.
When you do the measurement for the clipping, is it from one ear to the other, or how do you measure?
It depends. So I asked the client, how are you comfortable? Do you want one piece, or do you want? Some people want just 3 pieces, which I hardly ever have. Usually they want the whole thing. So they tell me, they're like, oh, I want a small one up here, 3 long ones right here, and then I'll take a regular measuring band, measure it up, write it down, cut it, sew it, done. Yeah.
For a big one, if they order a big one, it would be from the top of the ear to the other side?
Yeah, you usually always want to leave some room out. So, when you probably want to leave this part out, and then I always go above the ear.
Okay.
Right here. Because then you have enough room to cover.
Right.
But then again, it all depends, because does the client have enough hair to cover? So that's for you to determine where the placement should be. And that's another thing with hair extensions. Placement is probably, after consultation, the number one thing, because everybody can go on YouTube and watch. There's a million, hair extension tutorials out there, and they're good. It's awesome because you want to see what's out there and how other people do it. But none of the tutorials really teach you about placement, because that's the most important part. A lot of people, even on tutorials, I see it all the time, they take the head and they just go, like especially with sew-ins, they just go straight down, which is fine. But if the client wants to put the hair up or have a little more movement, it can get a little tricky, because then something can maybe poke out. So what you always want to do is you want to go in a U shape, unless you're up here, because up here you want to cover. So it's very tricky. You have to learn about placement. You have to leave about an inch out around the hairline in order for hair to cover, and then you have to kind of like see, okay, is she able to cover the hair? Like for instance, I have tape extensions down here. The first one, about an inch. I don't know if can you guys see it? About an inch from her hair, because sorry, Deborah. So now I can cover it. If you start like right here, then you're not going to be able to cover, and she's going to be forced to always have her hair down. Okay. Have you guys ever heard of skin weft extensions? No? Okay. They became really popular in the last 2 years. I want to say they're about the fastest extension method. You can do a full head in about an hour and a half to 2 hours max. And they look like this. So people with thin hair, like for me, I have very thin hair. These were a lifesaver because they're so flat. I can literally go over my hair, and even if like a stranger should touch my hair for whatever reason, I don't know why they would, but sometimes it happens. My hair is so pretty, and I'm like, did you just feel that I have hair extensions in? Which I don't care. I mean, I'm very open about it, but still, there's people that have a insecurity problem. They don't want their hair extensions to show. So that's where these guys come in, and they're awesome. You can reuse them. You can retape them. So I take that picture out. Exactly. So out the inside. You also want to make sure that's probably a little too thick. So you want to take this away. Make sure it's not too thick and not too thin. So this is too much.
So like an eighth of an inch parting?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
What's really, really important with the skin weft extensions is that your fingers don't touch the adhesive. Once it touches, it can kind of like shorten the
lifespan
time of the, yeah. So you take it off, be really careful, and then you just heat it up a little bit. And pick this up, put it right under, and lay it over. Now whatever is left over, you just pick it up. There we go. Okay. So I assisted you on the bottom, but the top I'm going to let you do. Who has the other piece? Perfect.
How does it feel? Not heavy, right?
No,
can feel it.
Okay, so now you can
Doesn't
take it off.
damage your hair?
And with proper care, no. With proper installment, it does not damage your hair. Also, you want to make sure that you have your client come every 4 weeks to check on the hair extensions, give them a nice wash, a style, and check on the hair extensions. Now with tape extensions, their lifetime is not as long as with the individuals. The individuals you can probably have in 2 to 3 months.
So this
Oh
will
no, you have
stay
to clip
for.
it down.
How long would it stay for?
These stay in a good 8 to 10 weeks.
It goes, how do you?
It depends how often you wash your hair.
How do you scrub your neck?
Oh, absolutely no problem. So move it, lay it down like this. There we go. Now press it down. Yeah. Awesome. So now you take this again and you seal it. Okay. But make sure you don't burn her, and then you go like this again. And boom. Yeah, and it's so flat.
I wanted it longer. And if in case you want to take
There you
them out, how do you take them out?
So there's a bond remover.
She's like, actually.
There's a remover. And what you do is when you take them out, actually it has a really cool nozzle. I'm not going to take it out now. You can keep it. But I'm just going to show you guys. So it's, don't ever let the customer or the client take it out themselves, because then there can be serious damage. Because these tape extensions, they're in there. And they're literally, you know, after 6 to 8 weeks, they're in with the hair. So they'll probably, if they try doing it themselves, even with oil or something, they'll probably rip half of the hair strand out. So you want to, that's why you want to bring the client back in. You want to tell them, you know, I'm going to take them out safely for you, and then we tip them and we put them right back in. So this is a really good product. You want to make sure that it's not oily, so you can actually redo the client. And you kind of find like a little, with the nozzle, you find like a little opening. You squirt some liquid in it, you let it sit for a couple minutes, and then it comes right up.
So how can you reuse the hair extensions to put another tape?
Yeah. I'll show you. So here are all different tapes, different sizes, because they're different tape extensions. Some of them come really thin. So can you guys see?
So it dissolves the previous one, kind of?
Yeah. Exactly. So then you want to wash the hair, you put it in a bowl, you let it, yeah, you just let it, no, you actually let it sit a little bit in the water. Then you condition the hair, you blow dry the hair, and then when it's dry, you can pull the rest of the adhesive just off and retip them. That's why this is such a popular method, because you don't, A, lose the hair, you can reuse it. It's cheaper than other extension methods, because individuals take a long time. Turn your head. Can anybody see that there's an extension right there?
No.
It's coming like each hair comes out the scalp.
What is the red?
So you just wash it regularly. What I do when I have tape extensions in, I just go each row and I go under it. What I like to do is I don't wash my hair under the shower. I wash my hair in the bathtub. So I lay down and I go under it and I just, you know, kind of like make sure that nothing gets matted. And this is the same thing you want to do with your client. You want to have the client in your shampoo bowl and you want to go each row, make sure that, because you can't brush under the extension. So you want to make sure that, you know, you just separate the hair if there's any matness going on. And it's actually really easy. 6 to 8 weeks, not a lot of tangling can happen in 6 to 8 weeks. So, yeah. Also, there's a lot of misconceptions about hair extensions can be like left in the hair for 6 months. Like there's a lot of people that look, oh my God, I need the longest hair extension method. No. We have regrowth, and there's no extension method that should be longer in your hair than 3 months. After 3 months, it gets unhealthy. No matter how good you take care of it, it's just not realistic. Because every distribution company that, and I'm just telling you guys that because, you know, I want you guys to be successful.
My friend gets Indian hair.
Right, and there's a lot of places that when you look online, they're American companies, and you don't have to buy from them because they get the hair from China. So China usually gets the hair from India, and then they'll make the hair. And you can go on Alibaba or other websites, and you can every company. There's so many companies. You can always purchase one sample, figure out if you like the hair, and yeah, because that's another thing. If as a cosmetologist, you want to offer. I mean, you don't want clients to depend on you to purchase the hair, but you want to offer hair as well.
Yeah.
Because why not make that extra?
Yeah.
How many do you typically need?
For a full head, you probably need like 40 sandwiches, so 80. Yeah, so that's about 2 bundles. Yeah, 200 grams. But then it depends because a lot of people, they just want a little more volume. So then you just put 20 in. But they're so fast. That's why tape extensions are so popular. So this is the tape. So just in case I wanted to, I'll show you. So just in case I wanted to reinstall this hair right now. It still has the old tape, but it's too fresh for me to take it off. But I'll show you. So you take.
Friday, let her finish her class, then you can ask her.
That's okay. So now we retape the extension. I need to. Boom. There we go. And we have a new tape extension.
How many times can you do that?
2 years.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this quality of hair is awesome. I mean, with proper care, condition it right and use the right shampoo, this will last at least 2 years.
But what about the tape?
Well, you take it off each time. So every time I just put it over the old tape just because the tape is too wet. I just had this bond remover on there, so I can't really take it off. But just to show you guys, you have to completely, wait till it's dry, and then you peel it off, and then you put the new tape on there. And you charge for that as well. I mean, taking off, retaping, that's $100.
Yeah, it takes time. You're gonna sit there and do it.
45 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but while your client is getting, I don't know, whatever service,
Right.
or she's under the hood, or just you do a treatment or conditioning treatment or something. That's when you do that, and then you reinstall the hair.
Excellent.
Yeah. So let's see. So these are the individuals. I think this is what a lot of people know too, right? So there's the keratin individuals and there's the microlinks. So the microlink is held by beads. So there's no glue, no adhesive. There are organic keratins. There's kind of like beeswax, so they crumble off, and those are the keratins. And then the microlinks are the beads. There's different sizes of beads. If you guys want to, how to use a microlink. You need this little instrument. Looks a little scary, like maybe a dentist instrument, but it's not. Has a little tiny hook, but I need a model. Anybody wants to? Yeah, okay, come over here. All right. So I have a little microlink. The hair that you use for the microlinks, it has a little silicone tip. And also in my class, I'm going to teach you guys how to make these. So you don't actually have to go somewhere and buy them because they're more expensive. You can just buy hair on the weft, like this. Like this, cut a little strand off and customize the strands as well. So you have a client that has really thick hair, you don't have to put 300 strands on them. You can make the strands a little bigger and put 150 on and you save your time. So, let's see. I'm going to use a blonde aluminum so you guys can see what it looks like. That's okay. That's okay. I'll find a little spot. Okay. So with this hook, you grab the hair, and you want to make sure that you take enough hair to carry this strand. So you kind of want those strands to be matching. And then you put the hair in the hook, pull it through. You want to move it a little? Yeah. Not so much. And then we have these pliers. And then you just connect it. Turn around so everybody can see.
So you just press together? I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So
Put the
Put the
extension.
extension.
you put the bead, then you put the extension in the bead, and then you press it. And make sure it's really, really pressed tightly so it can't fall out. But there's a lot of people that don't want any glue in their hair, so this is their best technique to go with. And that's what comes down to the consultation again. You ask them and you talk to them and you find out what their preference is, what they like, what they don't like, and then you determine, okay, you know what, this is the best method for you. So I usually cut it in a half. That had your length of hair, and this one, like I said, with proper care, no damage at all. That's why you want to make sure you use enough hair, and you always want to be able to move it up and down, because if it's not movable, then it's too close, and it can actually rip out the hair or the hair follicle.
And how do you remove it? You just
To remove it,
press on it.
you
from
take
the
the
other side?
plier.
Don't
Don't remove it. I can remove it and then put it in with a black one. Is that okay? And then you can keep it off. So the pliers have like little holes. Like this one right here, for instance, has 3 different sizes of holes because there's more sizes of microlinks. So people with thicker hair, they get obviously a bigger one. People with thinner hair, they get a real tiny one. There's new ones right now. They're called newbies or newpos, something like that. They just came out, but they're so tiny, you can hardly see it. I mean, they're like super, super tiny.
I feel like you need so many.
So can you guys see? Looping. I'm looping her hair through silicone. And this one's a really good one. It has like a silicone coating inside, which is actually very good for you.
Can you look at anybody and tell if they have extensions?
I probably can, yeah. That's just because I've been doing this for so long. I can look at somebody's hair density and I can figure it out. Like, I can see sometimes, you know, when you have little strands hanging out right here that are different than the other hair, then yeah. But that's okay. There's nothing wrong with hair extensions. Nothing at all. Just because it's not grown on you doesn't mean, you know, it's a bad thing. So.
Thank you.
How does it feel? Can't feel it, right? You want to make sure that after you're done putting the hair extensions in, you don't tell your client, oh, okay, I'm done, I'll put the hair extensions in, that's it. So you always want to make sure you blend the hair in nicely. And it's a little bit harder to cut hair extension than hair that grows on our head, because I always call it dead hair, because they don't flow as much as your own. So usually, you know, there's a certain technique the way you cut it down. But I'll show that in my class. I'm gonna do it on the side too. Oh, you have nice hair. All right. So for the keratin, we need another instrument. There's lots of tools with this stuff. And then you need a little, yeah, I call this like a little bender. It already has keratin on there. But it's to protect the scalp. So you go there with the heat and you don't want to burn your client. So this actually helps you. So what I always do is, here, let's go with this. I take a triangle. And then I put this on. And this is how you secure it. Find a U-tip. So this one's called a U-tip for the keratin. This one's called an I-tip. That's for the microlinks. And the U one is not reusable. So once you put them in and you take them out, that's it. You can't really, because they separate. They go in all different places, and there's no way for you. I mean, it would be very, very tedious if you would try to save the hair and like retip it or put it back in keratin. So people with a lot of money that are not worried about, you know, reusing the hair, for them keratin's the best solution. And a lot of clients don't mind either. Like I have a client, she doesn't like when her hair grows out. So every 4 weeks she gets new keratins. Wow. So you want to heat this up. Just like the pliers, my heater has the same little curve. Put it in there. And then you wrap it around the hair. Okay, come a little closer. And then you warm it up again. And you roll it. So yeah, this is a little more tedious, and it can burn your fingers sometimes. Like after a full head, my fingertips sometimes are, yeah.
Sensitive.
A little sensitive. But once again, it has to be movable. That's it.
How do you remove that? Thank you.
Same thing. You want to leave it in? Want me to take it out?
No, I want to.
Leave it in? There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, those you can feel a little, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not heavy or anything. Yeah. So, okay, so we did clip-ins, we did microlinks, we did skin weft, we did keratins.
What is the most popular technique?
It's a good question.
More requests for it.
I really can't say because everybody has a different preference. It really depends on people's hair. It really depends. Some people probably say microlinks because it doesn't have any glue. And there's a lot of organic people now these days that don't want any glue in their hair, so that's their best bet. I think the tape extensions are becoming like very, very popular just because they're on the cheaper side. And I don't know, if you guys want, you can feel, like you guys can come up and feel it. She has the whole bottom is full with tape extensions. You see?
Yeah, you can't even tell.
You can't even tell. Those are a little thicker because I use these so you guys can see the difference in quality too. So the other one that I put in on you saw how the hair came like out of the tape. This one right here, you see? It's a little cheaper quality. It's not as particularly wefted on the tape, but it's still okay. I mean, you know, nobody can see.
And you have different colors of the hair, or you just
Yeah,
dye
you can
them?
buy them. You can buy them in any color, or you can color them yourself. They come in ombre hair. I mean, hair comes in every color.
And the sewing ones.
The sewing ones, so I don't do the braided sewing. I used to get them myself. I actually got every extension method there is myself, to tell you the truth. That's why I know how everything feels and how it is and what's good and what's bad. And the problem with the braided sewing with me, I know it's steamy. That's okay, it's just a keratin. The problem with the braided sewing is it's a little bulky, but not only that, the upkeep is tremendous. I mean, to make sure that you dry the hair for 2 hours, because if the braid is wet and if you don't dry it properly, it molds. And who has time to sit under, the heater for 2 hours to make sure it's completely dry?
They sew it to the actual hair? I've never
So
seen
they
it.
make it, okay. I have a sewing right here.
Okay.
So the braided sewing is they make a braid, like a cornrow. They usually attach synthetic hair with it so it can be a little stronger. It's also braided very, very tightly. And then it's sewn on. So that's one thing I feel like it's not really good for the client. It's just too much. Yeah, it's very, very, very tight. So I created my own technique of a sewing, and I call it a flat track. So instead of braiding a braid or making a cornrow, what I do is I make a track out of microlinks. So I don't know if you guys can see it. I just made this yesterday, so it's like super tight on here. But if you pull this up,
You sew it on those parts.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But there's a lot of methods. There's a lot of methods now with the beaded sewing. It's called the beaded sewing. So a lot of people, they put beads every inch and then sew through the bead. I don't do that because the yarn can actually cut off your hair by sewing it through there. So I create a microlink, connect each strand to another microlink, and then sew it on, you want to say that ponytail. So there's hardly any pressure, there's no discomfort,